What is your reaction if an innocent girl is exposed to sufferings due to a deliberate act on her insensitive organ for no medical reason and without anesthetic? She has physical damage on her innocent body.
My mom had to pay her extra for using a new razor.
It's just a heartless thing to do to a human being.
That is what female genital mutilation brings about. Female genital mutilation, known as FGM, refers to practice where some or all of the female genitals are cut, altered, or removed for a non-medical reason. It's usually carried out on girls between infancy and the age of 15 without their consent and without anesthetics. Even though the exact number is unknown, the World Health Organization estimates that more than 200 million girls and women worldwide have been subjected to FGM. Every year, 3 million girls and women are subjected to genital mutilation, a dangerous and potential life-threatening procedure that cause unspeakable pain and suffering. The majority of girls are cut before they turn 15 years old. It is estimated that 15 million additional girls between the age of 15 and 19 will be subject to it by 2030. Female genital mutilation is a global concern. It's not limited only to Africa, Middle East, and Asia where it is commonly practiced, but also in immigrant communities throughout the world, including USA, Canada, Europe, and Australia. It's widely practiced in 30 to 40 African, Middle East, and Asian countries such as Somalia, Guinea, Djibouti, Sierra Leone, Mali, Sudan, Egypt, Eritrea, Yemen, Kurdistan, Indonesia, Jordan, and others. These practices violate girls' and women's basic human rights, denying them for their physical and mental integrity, their right to freedom from violence and discrimination. FGM is a form of child abuse, dangerous and criminal offense in the UK, as it is often performed by someone with no medical training, using instruments such as knives, scalpels, scissors, glass, or razor blades for no medical reasons. It's usually performed to control female sexuality, which results in a long-lasting damage to physical and emotional health. Female genital mutilation has many painful and traumatic consequences. It can cause serious harm, including severe and or constant pain, infections such as tetanus, HIV, and hepatitis B and C, pain or difficulty in having sex, infertility, bleeding, organ damage, problems during pregnancy and childbirth, which can be life-threatening for mother and baby, and mental health problems such as depression, flashbacks, and self-harm. One may ask why FGM happens. It's carried out for a number of cultural, religious, and social reasons. In communities where it is practiced, FGM is an important part of girls' and women's cultural gender identity. The procedure imparts a sense of pride, of coming of age, and a feeling of community membership. Not conforming to the practice stigmatizes and isolates girls and their families, resulting in the loss of their social status. This deeply entrenched social convention is so powerful that parents are willing to have their daughters cut because they want the best for their children because of the social pressure within their community. The social expectations surrounding FGM represent a major obstacle for families who might otherwise wish to abandon the practice. And anyone departing from the norm may face condemnation, harassment, and ostracism. But FGM is a harmful practice that isn't required by any religion, and there are no health benefits of FGM.
In all the areas of evidence in Islamic law, there is no hadith that support the practice of FGM.
FGM is condemned by a number of international treaties and conventions, as well as by national legislations in many countries. Article 25 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights states that everyone has a right to a standard of living adequate for health and well-being, and this statement has been used to argue that FGM violates the right to health and bodily integrity. Similarly, defining it as a form of torture brings under a rubric of the Convention Against Torture and Other Cruel, Inhuman, or Degrading Treatment or Punishment. Moreover, since FGM is regarded as a harmful traditional practice prejudicial to health of children and is in most cases performed on minors, it violates the Convention on the Rights of the Child. It has been a specific criminal offence in the UK since the passage of the Prohibition of Female Circumcision Act 1985 and amended in 2003. It increases the maximum penalty on the Convention on Indictment for FGM from 5 to 14 years of imprisonment. Even though some countries pass laws to stop it, international organizations set goals to eliminate it, and education efforts stress its dire health consequences, it still remains widely practiced. The most commonly efforts done to combat FGM all over the world seem the same with varying commitments. One of these is raising awareness, mostly applied through the international and local organizations, including the National Social Health and Educational Services. Treaties and conventions, as well as legislations and legal efforts that have emerged from the UN, regions, and nations focusing on human rights declarations and criminal acts, respectively, have played significant roles in combating FGM. Regardless of all these efforts, still it is impossible to eliminate FGM. There has been an overall decline in the prevalence of the practice over the last 3 decades, but not all countries have made progress and the pace of decline have been uneven. UNICEF's new report analyzed that the practice had declined in a number of countries. However, the current progress is insufficient to keep up with increasing population growth. If trends continue, the number of girls and women undergoing FGM will rise significantly over the next 15 years. Combating FGM needs organized effort and systematic approach. National legislations should be applied into practice. Raising awareness and promoting dialogue among the communities must not be the one-time act only. They have to have continuation and must be kept sustainable. Coordinating actions must be a central issue, and integrating the abandonment of FGM in government programs, particularly senior officers, should take steps to raise community awareness of illegal nature of FGM and the liability of prosecution of those performing or facilitating the practice. Parents and guardians should be informed that they have themselves be liable to prosecution if they fail to take responsible steps to protect a girl under age of 16 from the risk of FGM, of which they were aware under Section 3A of FGM Act in a UK case. Multi-agencies group need to enhance the importance of working directly with communities to explore ways of preventing FGM in a way that communities themselves can tackle FGM effectively. Greater understanding of human rights provides communities with the tools to direct their own social transformation. And also collaborating with neighboring countries and with members of diaspora may be required. Educate girls on their right to decide what happens to their body. Research reveals that the current UK legislation alone was not sufficient to tackle FGM. There had been insufficient consultation with affected communities, awareness raising, and education about the legislation. Community-led solutions are the most effective way to tackle the FGM. FGM adversely affects communities globally. Though its prevalence in some countries indicates it's declining, the current study, on the contrary, reveals that it is one of the challenges for humanity. So it becomes a global issue that needs a holistic solution from the global ethical, legal, and moral perspective. end female genital mutilation now. No to FGM. No to FGM.